What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Bob Arum. Bob Arum says that a Crawford Spence deal would be done in an hour once Spence is healthy. Bob Arum is very confident a super fight between welterweights Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. can be staged as soon as sidelines when Spence is ready to resume his career. Negotiations would take less than an hour once Spence is ready to return to put the Crawford fight together. It's not Al Haymon's fault Spence is not healthy enough to fight at the present time. Hopefully he'll recover from his injuries to fight again, Arum told BoxingScene.com. Okay. Al Haymon and I discussed Crawford Spence before the accident, and we're well on our way to making the fight. Then we were well on our way to making the fight. We talked earlier this year in doing a Spence Crawford fight in 2020. While we never agreed, we were in effect circling around the same terms that we have for Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, but realistically, we can't count on it because we can't count on when he'll be available. Those were serious injuries that he had. Okay. So, Bob Arum, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but Bob Arum goes on to bring up key points on how he feels that those injuries were a lot more than people let on. I think they were too. We haven't seen him in public anywhere. We haven't, and he's supposed to made public appearances and haven't, So that should tell you right there that if he didn't show up for Wilder Ortiz and, that's his PBC brethren and Al Haymon, member of the discipleship, right? And he didn't show up then, that lets you know that there was something else going on, And again, this might not even be a physical thing. A lot of people are looking, well, yeah, you see the car flip, but how and why did the car flip? The car flipped because he hit a median. But why did he hit the median? Because he was drunk. Why was he drinking like that, driving the car like that late at night, knowing the money that he had? Something else might have been going on. Again, that could be something with some type of substance abuse. People, they're not looking at that. If you notice this man, all of a sudden, he went from hardly saying anything at all to kind of mild and mannered to, oh, I stop everybody. I stop him. I stop him. Terence Crawford ain't no, he went from 0 to 150 when it came to expressing himself and talking about who he wanted to fight and what he feel about other fighters. So that could be some other reason. Maybe, like, again, he might have a problem with alcohol. Maybe not, but more than likely, but he was drunk. He was charged with a DWI, okay? So those are the type of things that you have to consider with Errol Spence. So it might be more than what Bob Arum is saying. Just because he's getting his sources from somewhere don't mean they're true. The man was drunk. That might have been his problem. He just was so fortunate that because of his problem or whatever the problems were, he didn't end up killed in a car accident. Okay. So, but with Bob Arum, saying, oh, the fight will be ready right away when he comes back, this really makes me feel really, I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me because all of a sudden Al Haymon didn't exist, right? You remember the call out to Terence Crawford. Then he said he spoke to Al Haymon earlier this year. Then he said he spoke to Al Haymon right before Spence got into the accident, trying to get this fight done in 2020. And, the network differences and stuff like that. Of course, they're going to catch problems with that. They're going to have hangups with getting that type of stuff done. But if it can happen for Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, it can happen for Spence Crawford or Crawford Spence. Okay, so, my thing is, why didn't Arab come out with this information before he got in the car accident? It's just suspicious to me, you know what I mean? Because that's breaking news. That's big news. And that, so if you're going to call or you're going to go public to say, oh, a fighter, this guy, Al Haymon, don't exist. And who is he? We never seen him. But then yet you didn't discuss or didn't go to the public and saying, hey, I did talk to him. We were going through terms. We're negotiating, trying to find loopholes around the networks, things that like he said in this article, and I'll leave it below in the description box. But the whole thing is, it's like now you come out with this information saying that you were talking to Al Heyman. That's progress. That's breaking progress, right? So it seems like to me that you would have came out with that information before this wreck ever happened. And here's the thing: if he said, well, it will be done in a second, if when Spence is healthy. I'm like, well, you know, how do we know that Spence is healthy? If he never got back into the ring and he just, you just want him to jump in with Crawford. You know what I mean? And then, okay, say he jumps in with Crawford, you make this fight done. He says he's ready. He's not hurt like he says. He goes into the ring with Crawford and gets beat. What is everybody going to say? Oh, man, he was not ready. He did not take time to recuperate, to heal, to repair, to whatever. He didn't have that ample time. You know what I mean? You just threw him in there with a live beast, the boogeyman of the division, the sleeping boogeyman of the division. So you put him in there, though, with that. I wouldn't. Here's my thing. I want the fight to happen because that is the fight that once was the biggest fight. But we have to honestly know where Errol Spence is. If we don't know where he is physically, mentally, emotionally, or whateverly, we won't know. And you got to put that fight on pause until we get that information. Okay. Until we know that Errol Spence is A-OK to fight. We know he's still that tough, savage, can take a punch, you know what I mean? Has everything, all of his senses, all of his reflexes intact, no tendon problems, no anything like that. Why would you want to even look for that fight? I think that fight should be put on pause for right now. Let Crawford fight whoever. Let Crawford fight Sean Porter, Danny Garcia. Let him get into some of those PBC fighters. Let him get his toe wet over there. Let him fight one of those guys until Errol Spence can properly heal, because it's not fair to Errol Spence when we don't know what his condition truly is. You know what I mean? So he needs to come out and let us know. And then after he says, hey, I'm okay, and has a public announcement, then we need to see where he is in the ring. If he looks good, throw him in there with somebody that's a good tester. That's a good barometer. So we can see how this man fights, how this man reacts, how this man responds, Okay, so that's my take on it, man, because Bob Arum, saying this Crawford Spence deal would be done in an hour, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay, well, that's what changed. You know what I mean? And if so changed, why didn't you say it changed when it did change? But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Bob Arum's statements. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.